This conference will now be recorded.
Right, so the server is up in the background, so I don't need to run the Mongo. Mongo was already, we started. It is running fine in the background, so I can connect. Right, show DBs, use SQL DBA, show collections. Right, these are the collections we have. Good enough. So now we're going to enter into the schema design. We finished the CRUD operations, till yesterday. Schema design is very, very important in MongoDB especially. Why? Because MongoDB can accept any format of data, any kind of data. It is the on-fly schema. On-the-fly schema means it will create the schema if you don't have it, and it takes the data automatically. There is no rejection of the data. If syntactical errors will be validated anyway, syntax must be followed. But if the syntax is followed and if they are pushing the data, every document is coming in a different structure, there is no rejection basically. So, but like some situations you wanted the data format should be defined. You wanted the data in the some formats only. You don't want any kind of data. You wanted some sort of data should be there. Then only accept the data. You want design your, document layer, how you wanted to pick up the document from the application or from the sender, whoever it is. It must follow certain standards. It must follow certain rules and regulations when it is getting loaded. So see, it's not all the case that you wanted to load any kind of data all the time, but sometimes you wanted to have some rules so that you can control the incoming data, unnecessary data you don't want. You wanted controlled data. Like if this data is following these rules, then only pick up the data. If not, fail it there itself. Don't pick up the data. So we have the controls on what need to be, accepted, what can be rejected based on the business model. Anyway, this is not your job as a DBA. Even I don't involve into this area, but it's very important to know that how Mongo can handle the data which we don't want. We don't want some formats of data, and we want it to reject if it is not following the validations that we imposed on the collection level. Let's see one by one. I'll talk in practical more of, then I'll come to the theory. Theory is simple anyway. If you understand practically, then theory becomes pretty simple for all of you to understand. It's not too tough to understand anyway. I'll finish this topic mostly today. Just try to follow. Difference in other used. Okay, right. So first validation level we'll see. So basically, let me create some conditions, guys. I'll come to know everything we have in the slide anyway. I'll explain what it is exactly. So let it be. So we're going to see one by one. Document validation. Let's talk about the validation first. So let me show you practically and then come back and explain you the slide one by one. So I wanted to create a collection with certain validations, what I wanted. Okay. So I'm taking one example. The live use case can be anything. It's not something, based on the situation, they do call their own validators. But here I'm just taking one example to make you understand how validators or schema design would work in Mongo. I'm going to create db.create create collection. Okay. Create collection. Within the collection, what collection you wanted to create? Maybe I wanted to create class collection. Class is a collection name. Then I wanted to impose some validators. Okay. Validate. validator I wanted to impose. So I'll go with the validator. I'm defining it. So what kind of validator? Within the validator again, you have to supply the parameters. I wanted to supply multiple validators. Whenever you supply multiple validator, it will come, like uh, I'm supplying multiple validator. If one of the validator is, satisfied, I need the data to be picked up. If if you are supplying multiple parameters and both need to be matched, then it will go with the and are, we have seen that operators. So I'm going with R condition here. So if any of the condition is matched, pick up the data. So R R again will go with the array. Array will have two layers again. One is you need to form two layers, right? This is a minimum syntax, guys. Let me talk about this again from the beginning. See, create collection. This is the minimum syntax to create an empty collection, basically. But what I wanted on top of that collection, I wanted to add some extra validation that I wanted. So I'm just opening a document, then defining the validator. Okay. Within the validator, I wanted further condition. What is the further condition? Multiple conditions I'm giving. If one of the condition is matched, then pick up the data. When multiple one has to be matched, you go with the R condition. R will come with the $R. We know this, we discussed already R operator, right? And here within the dollar that R will follow with the it will follow with array, basically array declaration. Within array you have two conditions, one and second. Within this I'm going to define a phone number. Generally it's a number, but I don't want that. I want it to go with a type, a string. Phone number should be string generally. I'm just keeping that kind of validation. So I'm defining it as a string. Then second condition, I want to define email ID. Okay, email. The email must follow or some regular expression. The regular expression again, you go with the inside in it and write regex. You're defining the regex in between the slashes. The regex saying that you must have the email ID followed with the MongoDB, mongodb.com. .com must be added to the email ID. Then only it should accept the record. So this is one of the use case, guys. Just I'm just showing you, this is one of the example. The real world, they might follow their own validators based on the situation, but how validations can take the data, reject the data. We have different levels of validations, different level of validation actions. So I'm going to show you with actions so that you get the full clarity on this one.
So
So
Ravi,
we are
over here, the backslash is it going to back or forward slash
uh,
after?
this is something this is something is saying that after MongoDB, this is a continuity. After MongoDB, it should end with the mongodb.com. This is a backslash only. This must be backslash for sure. The above one is wrong, it seems. Anyway, we'll test it. We'll test it anyway. It should be what I'm saying is to the regex. I defined anyway forward slash forward slash. In between, I have to define the rule. This is the rule actually. This is the rule. What it is saying in that email, at least MongoDB should be there basically. After dot, it should be .com with it should end with the .com. Every email ID will end with the .com only. But the email ID must have the MongoDB in it basically. Somewhere in the text it must have the MongoDB. I'll just talk about this. So now if I'm trying to create this collection with a validator with the two conditions, this is completely a condition. Till this point is a condition. Within the R operator, we created an array. These two are the conditions. This is one first condition. Phone is a string, it must be a string. Email, next condition is email. Basically, this is the next condition. If you see, So email regex must be it followed the mongodb.com. So let's see. I'm trying to create this class collection with the validators. Let's see if it accepts or it won't accept. If it won't accept, we'll see the syntactical errors. Right, it is accepted. If example, if I make any mistake, so instead of this, even if I keep this forward slash, it is a syntactical error. So if it is class 1, I'm trying to create, it won't follow that, I guess. So it is expecting something different. So you are giving this is something a open, this is something a close. Here you are closing already, and here also you are closing, and that is something it is throwing there. If you're giving the backward slash, if you are giving the backward slash, you are telling the extension of the text. The extension of text is actually .com. It should be a .com at the end of the MongoDB. Anyway, we created class. Now, if I'm trying to insert the data into it, let's do it. db dot class. You see the show collections first. Class is created or not. So class, oh, yeah, upper and lower, fine. So db dot class, okay, dot insert. If I'm trying to insert, Mongo is a case sensitive. So lowercase, uppercase treated as a different collection, though it is same. So it's case sensitive. So now I'm inserting S number 1, okay, S name, just for the sake of discussion, okay, Konda Reddy, something. If I'm trying to do, will it accept based on the, like what we defined in the collection? It is a
No,
collection.
it won't
So,
because it is a validator.
right, it is saying that document failed validation. So it should, you defined R condition. One of the condition must be matched to pick up the this document. That is where you control the data. See, MongoDB can take any kind of data into the system, but you don't want, for some reason, if you are taking all the crap data, your hard disk, your system is completely filling up with the bad data. You want it to filter. See, if it is application log and system logs and you audit logs, something that sort of things, we don't impose the validators basically. But if it is something a live business case, you're building it, you don't want certain formats of data into the collection, you want it specific collection. If example you define a validation like this and people are getting this kind of error, the front end guy will connect with the back end developer. So what is the structure you defined? Why it is not accepting the document? Why it is failing? What structure? What you defined in the collection? Can you tell us so that we'll follow the same? They'll coordinate anyway. So that based on that they build the UI, the application UI, whatever they're supplying, they make asterisk mandatory. This is the mandatory field. This is how it has to be kind of. They'll write some hints to the people to follow the structure so that you will follow a structure to come into the Mongo collection. So now the same thing, db.class insert. Okay, I'm trying to do s number 1 again, s name Karthik. Okay, and here I'll go with the phone number. What I have defined as a phone, phone, so phone. If I give this value, will it accept? This is also a question. Look at the condition and tell.
No, it is not a string.
Yeah, that's good point you brought. I define it as it must be a string. Still, it is failed the validation. The same thing, if I give the quotes, then what happens? Come on.
Still, it's
If I,
not
if
going.
I
Still, it's not going to
why it not going to actually? Okay,
because it's a numeric value. Either quotes or no quotes doesn't make difference.
no. If it is a quotes, it's a numeric or a string characters, whatever it is. If you keep it as quotes, then it is a string. It's a number, whatever it is. Any programming language. even if you supply the numbers, if you go with the quotes, then it is a string. String means number also can be a string. It will treat everything as a string basically. String is a versatile. You can supply anything in as a string basically. If you enter this, it will pick up the object. I mean, it will pick up the document because it is following the first validation here. The first validation. If you see the phone number, if you give the in quotes, it is a string by default. Numbers does not have a string, but you are supplying the number in a quotes, that is a string. It is like that. Most of the programming language, everywhere, if you go with the any declaration, if it is a string, within the string you can enter the pure numbers. It accepts. String is versatile. It will pick up any data, but you have to keep in the quotes. Everything it will treat as a string itself. Anyway, so now we inserted first record. Trying to let's do the next level, next record. db dot class insert. Okay, insert s number 2, s name, Biren, and phone number. Phone number I don't want. Email. Let's go with the email. Email. It must match the field. So if I'm giving example, okay, biren@gmail.com, will it accept this record? What do you think?
No,
So we defined some regular expression to follow. If I do this, it will fail the validation. I must follow the mongodb.com only. mongodb.com. So because I defined that condition, the email must be at this specific domain only, accept it. Don't accept the other domain email IDs. Maybe you wanted you wanted to handle it the Outlook only, you wanted to handle it only the particular thing you wanted to what do you say, you wanted to accept. Maybe you go with the one more condition with the email regex with the outlook.com, you go with the one more condition, go with the gmail.com. Only three domain mail email IDs pick up: Outlook, Gmail, mongodb.com. Only these three formats of email allow it. Other for other email IDs, hotmail.com, you have a lot of things, right? So don't accept it. So you define the condition which way you wanted to pick up the data, which email IDs you wanted to pick up the you wanted to keep in the background. Only your company related email IDs or any email ID you wanted to keep it. So you can define a lot of things, guys. That is what schema design. You're designing it what you wanted in the background. If I do this, it will accept. Why it is still failed actually? Let's see.
because you put a condition that in place of Biren MongoDB, then you put any other email, then it is going to take, like ending with com.
MongoDB.
Because you put the condition MongoDB/.com.
Right, that's correct.
So
So it's
email should contain, not the domain should be MongoDB.
it's fine. Anything. It should be there in the text part. That's what we define. Document failed. Email. Did I go with the correct one? Email. Regex.
Probably, probably the email ID should start with MongoDB, Ravi.
Sorry. Actually, see, I given the wrong here. Spelling mistake. Mono
Yeah.
G DB. This is correct itself. Come on. Sorry, guys. If I go this format, it will accept. Okay. I wanted to reformat it. I can, if I rerun this, it will pick up the new changes. You can do it. So now let me show you this condition. So what conditions we have? If you wanted to go with the Mongo, there are a lot of commands to help with the Mongo, help commands. If you see db.help, these are the Mongo basic commands we use in regular version. These are the commands. So we are going to talk about all of this anyway. db.admin command can be used to shut down the server, all that. And authentication we have seen, like right. Clone database deprecated, we are not using it anymore. And copy database, this is also deprecated. And db.create collection, just we are seeing today. Capital collection, all that we are seeing the creating collection manually, right? We have seen already capital collection, creating capital collection, create a user also we have seen. Drop database we will see further. Fsync lock and fsync unlock we have seen, right? Get collection name, get collection. So if you wanted to see the collection details, get collection name. This something is we are going to see now. I'm going to cover every function, most of the admin functions. Some functions are development related, some functions are DB related. So, but 90% of the functions are DB related, DBA related. So I'm going to talk about all the functions what we have here. No need to worry. So now DB
Yeah.
dot get.
In that query, I have a question. Like if you can go back to that
Yeah, sure.
the input query, yeah, over here, what is the reason that we are putting a backslash after MongoDB backslash.com? Can't we put it in a yeah, can't we put it in a straight way like MongoDB.com in place of backslash?
Actually, what we are saying is before the .com, there should be Mongo in it. It can be before or after, but the text part of MongoDB should be followed in it. If you don't follow the MongoDB, see @mongodb.com. Before I kept MongoDB and giving the name it will accept any format like this. So example, Mongo. Just I'm telling combination Mongo @ravi.com. Still it accepts. MongoDB is followed in it. In the text, MongoDB should be there. Even if follow this format, it'll accept. It does not matter. It is only validating the .com at the end. Okay. And before that, you must have the text MongoDB in it. Anywhere it should have a MongoDB, not as a domain.
So even in this case, then in place of MongoDB, if you can write it a MongoDB, still it is going to take, right? Or it's going to
Yeah.
match, or it is
No,
going to match the case.
it only look for this, like is there or not in the string. If it is there, it will pick up. But let's
It can
see what.
also take at Ravi MongoDB.
Yeah, anything. It will also take like this Ravi @mongodb.com. So because it is followed, it is there in it like this.
What if
So it
happens
is
if you write a MongoDB in
any
Ravi at the rate a Mongo?
anything. Just it
No,
look
no,
for
no,
this exist.
not on the top, on the bottom line. Yeah, after at the rate, if you put a, yeah, will this take?
It will also will be picked up. Most let's give it a try. So what I'll do, guys, I'll rerun this. Before I rerun, let me show this collection infos and pass that class. What are the conditions? How it is defined? It will display everything. So this collection list failed. Bad value. Don't need a quotes. Class is not defined where I'm connected. Get collection infos. What it is saying just not. Returns the list that contains the names. Collection. Get collection infos, which is correct. The function is correct. Why it is not taking that? CLSS. It will display the structure of the table. Okay, as it has this kind of thing or what? Let me see.
Maybe DB name we need to pass.
No, DB name is not. DB we connected already. Just a minute. Items. Oh, what it want? Okay. Does it want in? Just a minute. Maybe I'm not following the syntax. That is the reason. Oh, come on, really? Just a minute, guys. I'll check the use case. You need to know the structure first before you do anything. It's a function, of course. Just I'll see one example so that I can easily understand this. How this can be used. Useless filter, okay. Use example, get collection of the following. The method returns the array of document that is a collection. Of course, this is what I wanted, but okay, come on. It is like this, okay. Name employees. Okay, good enough. So it is saying that to follow this way. We'll follow that way then. Right, exactly. Good enough. So if you see the collection structure, what we created a class collection, it has a validator options. What are the options we have? Validator or all or like validator or under R. See, this is a array basically where it is ended. Within this, we have two conditions. This is one condition. This is the next condition. Next condition, I given a monodb. Instead of that, I wanted to remodify the same thing. I can do it. I'll go and rerun MongoDB. I'll just pick up this and then rerunning this command. If I run this, it should be modified. If I go and read, you will see this got changed. Is it again MongoDB? Said okay, right?
The class 1, I think.
New, yeah, class 1.
Okay. Come on, seriously. Sorry. It won't create the collection, I feel. I need to go. Let's see. Already exists. So I need to modify it. I guess we have something called call mod. We have that discussion here. Just a minute. I'll change it using call collection mod. Somewhere I have mentioned. Right, this one. What it is saying. Not that converting the collection invalid document. Looking for one more command. Right, context moderate. Run command context validator. Okay, let's do this. If I wanted to change the structure, this is a command. Just a minute, guys. I'll close this off. What is saying? Call run command call mod and validator. Okay, it's going in the document, which is fine. So here run command, and here it is in the document they mentioned, which is fine. And call mod. This is what is this mentioned, it call mod. Okay. Validator does not need this thing, I guess. One extra layer. I need to remove this thing. Most probably is that the syntax is saying validator. Okay, I'll keep it as it is. Let's see. I'm trying to change that, guys. Even you do mistake, you need to have the recovery of it. Right, it is done. Class only, right? Yeah. Get collection infos again. Right, now it is rectified. The issue got rectified. What we did is wrong, and now it is correct. So now let's do the document insertions. db dot class dot find. So what we have right now, we have two documents in it, biren.com. Instead of biren, let me go with the, all right. So here I'll go with the third, okay, and I'll go with this assume case, okay, Santosh, and here I'll go with the MongoDB. It follows at the end only, but let's see. Santosh, it's not picking. It should be mongodb.com only then. What this is saying is, it is continuing. Without this, if without this the dot notation, it won't pick up. I feel. But when you have a separator, this kind of a separator for the ending of it. So this is something is a continuity of the end of the string. It seems, I guess. If I don't keep this one, I'm trying to keep this as a class 10. Just try. Let's do it. What it says. It really is going to create. Oh, it is created. Good enough. And in this case, what it does it accept that format? Hmm. Anyway, what you said is correct, Biren. This is something, even you remove it, it is speaking, it is a continuity as text. It should be dollar means at the end. The end of the text, it must be like this. MongoDB.com at the end of it. When you define something, at the end of it, the email must be MongoDB.com only. There, then only it will accept the record basically. If not, it won't accept. So you are telling the system what kind of email IDs you wanted to handle in the background, not all, anything that you wanted. So now I'm going with the Santosh. Sorry. So here, instead of this, there is a lot of discussion in this direction, guys. Just try to follow. Now it picked up. Now I'll insert one more record quickly. Oh, come on, where did I insert it in class 10?
Just for a variation, can you just put some other characters before Mongo?
Okay, like here you wanted to keep 1 to something.
You want to vary anything. Let us see whether it's picking up or not.
It is picking up. Just it should end with the mongodb.com at the end. That's it. This must be followed. MongoDB1, even if I give it this MongoDB1, it will throw the validation error. So at the end, it looking for
It
the
should
end.
be. Yeah, so it is going to be domain specific then.
Yeah, domain specific, which is correct. We wanted a domain should be followed like at the rate mongodb.com like that. So or else you wanted some particular email outlook.com only, like something you wanted to pick up, but something you don't want to pick up. Gmail IDs are not supported in the background. So you definitely have to register something through that MongoDB only, only Outlook only. You're defining it because in the background it is validating what's supplying it. It's just not taking this by default. It's validating, so you must follow it. You're enforcing the system to follow. By default, there are no validators. You are explicitly imposing the validators on the collection. This is called schema design. You wanted to design and what you wanted to accept, basically. So how you wanted to handle the error also is a design. We will see that in the next today itself. I'll conclude this. So db.class this we have seen. Now if you see db.class, find what are the records we have. These many records. Sorry, this is the old one. db.class.find. So these are the records we have. So now if I last one I'll insert as the last record, db.class, okay, and insert s number 4, okay, s name Lata, and here email email is given @gmail.com. I'll give it. And here you have to tell this. So will it accept the question?
Yes, because it fulfills one condition as a
Right. That's correct. It's our condition. What we defined is an R condition. When we validation look at R condition, R means one, either of the one is following the rule, it will pick up the document. So this is following, this is not following, which is fine because it is our condition. So it is accepted the document because one is following the rule, other is not following the rule. So now let's do the modification. db.class dot find these many records we have. Can I update this without the rule validation? See db dot, I'm trying to validate s number 2 assume a case. So db dot class condition, the condition is s number 2. That is what I wanted to update. What I wanted to update, set is the one you wanted to update something. Come on, sorry. Set what I wanted to update, the email ID. See, S number is 2, S name is Biran, email is mongodb.com, but I'm trying to change it to something else. Will it do that? So Biran @gmail.com. If I try to do it, even it validates the data for the update as well, not only for the insert. If it is letting us to update this one, it is deviating the schema design. So if you're trying to do it, it will throw the error. What it is saying, class is not a function. Sorry, it's my mistake. Class dot update I have to give it. Right. So you're trying to update biran@gmail.com. This document is purely following the schema design using on this field only. If you are deviating the schema design, it won't let you to do it. Document is failed. So if you come back to the slide now, you can, the first slide here, see the validations are available from 3.2 version. If you are running with 3.0 MongoDB, validations are not available. It can take any data and you don't have validations. There is no validation concept in 3.0. 3.2 itself, these validation came into picture. Why? Because customers requested it. They don't want all sort of data. Somewhere they wanted to restrict the data incoming data where they don't want certain format. So there they introduced 3.2. In 3.2 they introduced it. MongoDB provides a capability to validate documents during the update and insertions. Both you are trying to do to validate the document. Validate the documents during the updates and insertions, basically. Okay. When you are inserting or updating, both the cases, it is validating. It's not just the insert itself. Validation occurs during the update and inserts. Yes, both the cases. Add document validation to the existing collection using call mod. We have seen just now call mod also. I've discussed this one, right? So call mod, we run this one to change the structure again back to the correct one. So create collection, we have seen this anyway. The create collection with the validators. Let's come to this one. So validation levels. Okay. Now we have seen how the validations are working, but how you wanted to handle the validations again. There is further, filtration. By default, if you go and see db dot get collection infos, just try to follow this. Name class. This is what is syntax, right? Right. If you see validation level, there are two things associated with the document: validation level and validation action. This we did not give this one. Basically, it is a default. By default, validation level is strict, action is error by default. That is the MongoDB default nature. But you wanted to change this to something else, you can change it. This is called validation levels. So validations we have seen, guys. What you define, that document must satisfy the condition, then only it will pick up the data that we have seen. Now You wanted to manage the validation level what you wanted. So now, to make you understand better on this point, let me explain this. One more thing, what I'll do. See, anyway, by default, let me try. I guess I have to pick up one more collection for make you understand on this other point. This is the data. This data is inserted after the validation imposed on the collection. Whatever the data you inserted after the validation, it will follow through the validation. If I'm converting the existing collection, if I'm converting the existing collection to have some validations, the validation will not verify the existing records. It only verify the upcoming records. Keep in mind, this is another important point you have to know. See, I'm converting one of the collection to have a validations, the existing collection. I'm doing this. I'm converting the collection which does not have a validation and converting it to have a validations. When you add the validations, it does not look for the validation on the existing documents. It does not verify whether the existing documents are following the rule or not. It will verify the data, upcoming data, whatever is upcoming data is following the rule or not. That is something, another point you have to pick up in the validation level. Validation here, you can control how MongoDB handle the existing documents using the validation level option. By default, validation level is strict, that we have seen. By default, validation level is strict for the document by default. That is nature. So by default, validation level is strict, and MongoDB applies the validation rules to all inserts and update. Whatever you insert, whatever you update after the validation applied will be definitely strictly validated for every insert and update. Setting validation level to moderate applies to validation rules to inserts and updates to existing document that fulfill the. Okay, let me come to this point after I show the practical things. Okay, if I say directly, you don't understand these 2 points. So now, whatever the data I entered here, this is absolutely followed the rules. I cannot update any record without following the validation. It is mandatory. But let's do this.
Ravi, I just missed it. So in the email you have mentioned Lata at the rate of Gmail, right? So it should not insert that.
But phone is following the rule, right? Phone is a string.
Okay, okay.
What
Or
R we have given R. This is not following the rule, but this is following the rule. This is enough for
okay, okay.
to satisfy that validation.
Yeah, got it.
Right. So what I'll do, db dot, what do we say? Maybe class itself, this lowercase class, find. This is the data we have. Is it following the validation? Anyone? Is it following the validation? No.
No.
Now I'll convert this one to have the validations now. So now the same thing I'll give it in the same this condition as a class, as a small. That's it, you have to do nothing else. I'm converting the existing. Let me take off all of this. This is I'll send it to you guys. Okay. I'll take out that there. I'll write down some notes. Creating collection with validators to have specific design of the collection. You're designing, it is a design actually. This is called design. So now converting existing collection, adding, it's not converting, adding validations to existing collections to follow schema design. This is the command for that. I'll send this anyway. So now with this, First, let's do this. If I run this as it is, if you see anyway, db dot get collection infos, and the name is small letters. Don't confuse here. Okay, name is small letters. It does not have any, like if you see the options, this validation will come under options basically. Under options, you don't have any validation in this collection. Now I'm going to impose that. I'm going to run this now. So if I run this, I've copied everything. Right. I'm trying to do this, guys. If you understand this, the slides will become easy. Now, the class is converted to validated collection. Now, if I go and read this collection infos dot name class, now you see the options validator. The validator has been added to the existing. This was not there before. We just verified. We don't add any options along with the collection. Now we have it. We have this complete options are added just now till this point. Till this point completely added just now. So now if I see db dot class dot, this is what I was stressing the point. You added the validators. The validator what you added to the collection does not go and verify the existing documents. That is what this sentence is saying, that setting the validation level, by default validation is strict and MongoDB applies the validation rule to all inserts update, that is a common. Setting the validation level to moderate applies the validation rules to inserts and update. Okay, let me further discuss and come to this point again. It's not fully justified yet. So now, see guys, when you apply the validation on existing document, the validation does not undergo for the existing documents. Only it will pick up, it will check for the upcoming documents. Upcoming documents means now db.class.insert. If I'm trying to insert, so S number 9 is that I'm trying to do 10, S number 10, and the S name Ravinder, and if I'm giving it phone number as some random, it will not. Why? Because now the validations are there in the collection. So now if I go with and keep it as a string, it will accept. It will accept because it is following the rule. The same way, if you try to do the other thing, let's enter some text so that you understand again. Else. So now I'll go with just a phone, which is fine, but I'll add the email. It is not following the rule, but email is following the rule. That is enough. That is enough. guru@mongodb.com. It will accept the record. So either of it is following the rule, then it is accepting the record. If I go on, if I try to do the same record entry, but not the validation. So I'm giving both the phone number and email, but I'm not following the MongoDB1. It is failed. Why? Because this is not satisfying the condition. This is also not satisfying the condition. Both are not satisfying. Validation failed and you're getting the error. Right, good enough. So now the next point is how you wanted to handle the validation level. By default it is strict. Strict, what exactly strict means? So let's do this one. db.class.find. These are the data we have. Are these following the rules? No, you're not following the rules on this one. But there is a condition again. db.class, okay, and update. If I'm trying to update, it is strict. By default validation level is strict, and strict will follow. Even you're trying to update the existing record also, if you touch it, you have to follow the validation. If not, it won't. But if you're trying to modify, when you're trying to modify existing document also should follow the validation. If you don't modify, no, it won't validate. But if you're trying to modify, so now db dot, this is something, another important point you need to understand. If I do this name, by default it is strict. Why I'm showing again, you need to understand this. This is very important point here. By default, validation level is strict. If a validation level is strict, when you are creating the validation, though it is strict, it does not validate against the existing documents. But when you're trying to update, it will definitely do that. db.class.find. This is the data we have. Now, I'm trying to modify the first record. Just assume a case. db.class.find update. It is an update. Updating on the first record as number one. And sorry, S number one is going to find out the Santosh record. And I'm going to set S name to Santosh Kumar, something, whatever it is, just adding it, just more text to it. Will it allow us? It is not. Why? This document you are trying to update and you have something, a validator, you are not following it. It will accept the update if I do add one of the column, phone number, something I'm adding as a string. Now it is qualifying the condition. It will pick up the update. You guys following or not? Say something, please.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you try to do this, it is followed the update. When you are trying to update the existing record, it is checking the for validation. There is something called validation level moderate. When you impose moderate, it does not validate the condition for the existing documents before the validation. After the validation, whatever is there, it will validate the condition. Let me show moderate. This is where you confuse. Closely pay the attention, very closely. By default, strict. Strict means when you are applying the validation, does not verify the existing. It is strict or moderate validation level, whatever it is. But when you're trying to update, existing document also should follow the validation if it is a strict validation level. But I wanted to change that to, see, validation level was strict. I wanted to change it to moderate. Let's do it. Changing validation level to moderate. An existing collection. Okay. It is strict and we are changing it to moderate. How do we change it? Basically, it is so simple anyway. I'll pick up the same thing. I'll rerun this command with the validation level. So call mod, and it should come here within that document at the end. Validation level, validation level. Is it validation level? This must match validation level, right? Validation level, I'll keep it as moderate. I'm changing the validation level of that class. Let's see this. This is another important thing you need to understand. If you understand this, almost we are close to wind up this. Right, excellent. It is applied. So now go and check it. db.get collection infos and name collection. Now the validation level will be changed. Name. Okay. See, moderate. It turned into moderate. So I'll also keep this guys for you. Syntax. Checking what kind of validations we imposed. Validations we have imposed on existing collections. We can use below. I'll give as a reference this. This is important, right? So if you run this, this is the syntax. I was verifying it. I was right in the Google. So I changed this one to anyway. I'll show some more commands. For that I'm keeping it. So I changed it to moderate. What exactly moderate is going to do? That is the next discussion. db dot class dot find. If example, if a document is following the rule, if the document is following the rule, it will validate the validator. If the document is not following the rule, it does not validate the condition. What exactly it mean? Moderate means, see, whatever the documents you are going to insert, it definitely follow the validation. Insert don't have any exception. Once the data is, you applied the validation, the collection, insert definitely have to go through the validation. There is no exception for it. But for existing documents, using the validation level, we can do some exception. Validation level strict definitely will follow all the existing documents if you are trying to update. If you are trying to update, so follow this point very carefully. You definitely confused, even I confused in the beginning. But anyway, if I'm trying to do this, db.class update. So now what I'm going to do, I'm trying to change the Santosh Kumar. Okay, I did not set it. Okay, whatever it is. So sname to Santosh Kumar. Well, the one is gone actually. Okay, where Santosh Kumar record is there. I wanted to do the update. Okay, come on, set. I wanted to set the phone number to some number. So now what I'm doing, I'm deviating the validation on this one, but it is already following the validation. If validation is following, moderate will work on that. It is not matching the record. Why? Set phone.
Phone number should be string, double quotes,
No, that's
maybe.
fine. That's fine. Does not need to match. Come on, we are giving
Not
this one,
match in
right?
string, no?
This is matching, right? This is matching. And we are setting that phone to this when it is
Oh,
matched.
okay, okay. Got it.
Its name. Oh,
Got
sorry.
it, got it.
The field is wrong. Its name I mentioned wrong. See, its name spelling is wrong. Right. Now, if I hit it, it is throwing the validation failed. Why validation failed? This document is already following the validation. Don't deviate. Though it is a moderate, if the document is already following the validation, you cannot deviate from it. But this one is not following the validation. It accepts the modification. That is called moderate means. So update. There is small difference that you need to catch. S number 2, where it is not following the rule. Now I wanted to set something, updating it, the existing record. Set name, S name to, I wanted to keep it to Ravinder. So what exactly this is going to do? It is going to find this record. It is finding this record, and it is replacing the name from Viren to Ravinder. That is what the command. If I run this, it should execute because the validation level is moderate. It is executed. Though this document is not following the validation, it is accepted. Why? Because it's a moderate validation level. Moderate validation level does not validate the condition on existing documents which is not following the rule. These are all not following the rule. They are the existing documents. They are existing documents before validation applied, right? Try to catch this is very important. That is what this slide is exactly saying it. By default, validation level is strict. and MongoDB applies the validation rules to all inserts and update. If it is a strict, even if it is existing document, whatever it is, when you apply the validation, it won't verify the validation for the existing document that is there. By default, with any validator, existing documents will not be touched for the validation. But condition, if the validation level is strict, if you are trying to update an existing document, then it should follow the condition. It should follow the validation. If it is a strict validation, if it is a moderate validation, the existing documents, if they are not following the condition before, no need to follow. Is it clear? Say something, please. This is very important word I'm making. Confused, clear, tell me something. Don't keep quiet, please. People are quiet. Do you want me to write something? Right, let's write. Clear. If it is clear, I don't need to do that then. You need to be clear. Moderate means moderate what? Let me write it. Not moderate validation level will not verify the validations on existing documents while updating. Moderate validation level will not verify the validation on existing documents which are not following the condition, which are not following the validation while updating. While updating, though it will validate for all new insertions. Okay, is it clear to all? Moderate validation level will not verify the validations on existing documents which are not following the validation while updating the existing records. This must be existing document. This must be mentioned. Okay. Is it this statement making sense for you all? Just it is for you, not for me. Let me know if you don't follow. See, moderate validation level will not verify the validation existing documents. It is talking about the existing updated. When validate moderate validation level will not verify the documents and existing documents which are not following the, okay, I mentioned here, which are not following the validation while updating the existing documents, though it will validate for all new insertions. Does it make sense? Say something, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for the response, because I wanted to hear this. Right, if this you understood, these statements will be clear to you. By default here, by default, validation level is strict and MongoDB applies the validation to all insert and updates. If it is strict, doesn't matter if you're trying to touch the existing documents which are not went through the validation because they inserted before the validation applied. But when you're trying to update, the update also should follow the validation if it is strict. If it is strict, come on, see, let's quickly one more time. It is accepting this update. Why it is accepting again? I wanted to ask this. See, if I'm trying to update is number 4, let me read this data quickly. I will ask question and then I'll move ahead. db.class.find. I'm trying to update this. Will it accept me to update now without the validation? It's a question.
Yes.
It's a question. Why yes?
Moderate. It will, the
Yes, it will.
validation.
That's
Become
correct. If you understand this, then I can move out of this. So S number 4, it is defining the record to update. So what I wanted to update, set. What I wanted to update, what field I wanted to update. Hyderabad to something. This thing Hyderabad to HYD to I'll mention full name, something if I'm updating it. It will pick up the update, but at the same time, I'll write one more statement here where converting changing validation level from moderate to strict, from moderate to strict. Again, I'm changing it to strict. I want it for some reason. This is a command. Just you have to replace strict. That's it. So again, I'm converting to strict. This will conclude for sure. Okay. So now if I try to do this, before I do it, db dot get collection infos and the name class. You can also become developer slowly if you know all of this. Come on, sorry. Right. The validation level is moderate. Now I'm converting that to into strict. So now you see db dot get collection infos. Come on. While I'm typing, I can do that upward arrow. Right. It is strict. Now the question comes back again. This is the data. If I'm trying to execute the same command where I was executing this one, tell me will it accept or it won't. I'm changing the data from Hyderabad to Hyderabad 1. It is a change. It should accept. I mean, it will do it. But will it accept or it won't accept? Because validation level is strict. Back to the previous question.
It will
It
not
won't
accept.
accept
Right. It will not accept. Why?
because that
Validation
column.
level is strict.
Right. You got the point. This is what if validation level is strict, if you are trying to update, the update also should follow the condition or validation all documents. It can be the document is following the rule or not, doesn't matter. Everything should follow the insert update. Both commands should follow the validation. Though the existing document is not following the validation, but when you are doing the update, it must follow the validation. What does moderate do? Moderate will do the validation if the existing document is following the validation. If it is already following, you must follow the validation if you are doing the update. But if some documents are not following the validation before, it won't validate. That is the moderate. You guys following? Now you need to tell when do we use the moderate, when do we use the strict. Now you have to tell me the case. If you understood well. Can anyone?
Moderate can be used if there is any existing data before putting the validation.
Right, exactly. Very excellent answer. This is very nice answer. Seriously, you followed very well then what I'm trying to talk. Moderate is given when you already have the data, lot of data, and you don't want that existing data or existing format of already defined and given to the client, and that should not follow the validation. The new rules are applying to the new data, then you'll go with a moderate validation level. If it is a brand new collection you're trying to follow, go with the strict. Why? Because it is starting from the beginning. That is where the business use case will come into picture. And the existing data you are following the rule, or new collection you are following the rule. Existing data, go with the moderate. If it is a new, go with the strict, like that. That is the use cases, business use cases. Now is it clear? Strict to moderate is clear to everyone. Say something please, don't keep quiet. If you keep quiet, I cannot understand. Clear or
Yes,
not?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Give me some response please. Okay, now see here, I'll conclude the slides simply because you understood. By default, validation strict and MongoDB applies validation for all inserts and updates, strict that we have seen. Setting the validation to moderate applies the validation rules to inserts to existing document that fulfill the validation criteria. See, moderate only will apply, insert is there, will apply to insert, it is saying that. To existing document that fulfill the validation criteria, means wherever the document is following already the validation, then it will validate. If not, it won't. So with the moderator level, updates to the existing document that do not fulfill the validation criteria are not checked forward. This is exactly the statement I was talking about. Exactly this is statement, right? To disable the validation entirely, you can set it off validation level to off. If you keep it off, what happens? Let's do it. Why not? I don't want to just to talk. I guess off will work or not, I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll just pick up this. Let's test it. Really, is it working or not? Anyway, this is enough. If you understand, schema design is over. Changing the validation level to off, to not to validate the data for update and insertions. Something like this. So keep it off. Do we have this? I have to check. Off. Is it possible to do it? Definitely have to hit this and then check. Okay, excellent. We have this. db.get collection infos. Come on, please. Why it is not taking? Anyway, db.get collection infos. Class. Now validation off. Okay. Now it is off. It should let you to insert anything and update anything. Both. Let's test it. Fine. Even I'm verifying this, guys. Let's do the insert. Insert is main for validations. Validation off. 12. Okay, it is accepted. Why? Validation off. As simple as it is. So you wanted to insert one more record, you can insert absolutely. Whatever it is, just picks up. That's it. But if I'm trying to update, let's do the update. First find it. This is the data we have. Right now, db.class.update. It's no more validation does not apply to this. You wanted to switch off for some reason for a while, switch off and pick up the data what they are really wanted to, then switch it on if really wanted. It is up to the business, right? How one maintained can be. So if I go to this one, this is following the rule, right? I just wanted to go to S number 11, right? Yeah, 11. I wanted to replace, not the update, replacing the document. S number 11 is fine with me. Okay. S name, I wanted to change it to what? 11 is Guru, right? Guru 1, which is fine. Guru 1 and address. I'll keep either way. So I'm replacing the complete document. I'm not setting it, finding it and replacing it. So now db.class.find. Right. See, this 11th record is absolutely gone out of that validation. So if you wanted to switch off, changing the validation to off to not to validate the data for updates or insertion. Data for further updates or insertions, whatever it is, it should not validate. But again, if I make it on, I wanted to check this one. Okay. Now let's do one more further. So we talked about validation level. There is validation action as well. If you see this, there is we did not talk about this. What is this? Let's talk about that. Right. That is the end of the schema design. If you understand this. So now I'm keeping it strict. Okay. I can keep it to converting it to strict. What does strict do? You know that. I don't need to explain now. db dot, I don't want to type again. Right. If you see, it turned into strict. If I do that, db dot class dot find db dot, okay, db dot, if I'm trying to insert first class insert, I'm re-verifying very quickly just with one record. No, it won't take. You must follow the rule. And even if I'm trying to update, come on, it's strict, right? Update. Example 13. Set name to responder, right? I'm keeping it Ravinder. Will it accept? It's a question. Will it accept or it won't accept? Say something.
Accept.
It'll accept or it won't accept. It's a question I'm asking. Validation
It
is
won't.
strict.
It
No,
won't.
it is strict, right? It won't. But if I what I'll do, I'll add one extra field to the set. So I'll keep this one. Now what will it accept?
Yes.
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 Phone number.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that is what I wondered why it did not accept it. Kind of phone. Right, it is accepted. So because it is following the validation, as simple as it is. Now, even I'm not following the validation, I need the data insertion. That is handled through the validation action. Validation action, you're telling give the error basically, right? That is why it is erroring out validation error. Like if I'm trying to not following this thing, it is throwing the error. Why it is throwing? Because validation action is doing that. But I wanted to skip that also. You don't do it, but I'm just telling what is the purpose of it. Here, working with validations. Let's keep this red line. Working with validation level. Come on, levels. Okay, this is one thing, one section. I'll keep it as this is one section, and I'll keep it as a working with validation actions. Now, the same command. Now, validation action. What is that exactly? You have to pick up validation action. So by default, it is error. I wanted to warn, just to warn. Where I'm doing. Sorry. Okay. Just a minute. I did it wrong. Why? Because I have to do here, right? And I was talking about this to off, right? It is for your reference. So I'm going to send this document. So I wanted to match this. So here, validation action, I wanted to just warn. If I'm just giving the warning, I'm not failing the document, I'm changing it to warning. This is not good. Not good, but what it does, let's see. Should know this as well. If you understand this, I'm going to close this module anyway. So if I changing it to validation action to warning, it is done. Let's see the db dot collection info name. Right. See, it is given to warning. What does warning do basically? It won't give the error, though it is not following the condition. So I'm trying to load 14th record. Come on. Inserting 14th record. S name Sam Kumar. just case, building a case, address HYD. Even there is a validation strict, but validation action will play another role. If I do, it is, come on, this syntactic error.
You put two inverted commas before Kumar.
Oh yeah, good catch. Yeah, that's correct. Now it is accepted. So it is not validating the, it is validating the role absolutely in the background. But here, what's going on in the background basically? db.class and fine. If you see that data is not following the rule anymore, though it is strict, because you made the validation action to warning. What does warning do? It will write the event in the log file. That is what it is. So Mongo user, right? I'll tell you what it does. You're not supposed to do, but you need to know what it does. Okay, cat etc mongodb mongo. This is the log file, right? So let's see. Okay, wc-l 473 lines we have, good enough. So I'm going to read this. If I read this, this is the sentence I'm getting. But if you see storage valid here, document would fail the validation SQLDB collection. Failed validation on this one. It is writing that validation. If you are keeping warning, it is writing the error in the log, but not, it is not rejecting the insertion. It is speaking the insertion, but it is writing the event in the Mongo log, Mongo server log. It is saying that the so and so document is kept for the validation. It is not validated, but the warning is written because you are telling to the system just war, not error. You see, this is validating strict, good enough. But at the end, what you wanted to do with that validation, you wanted to error it out, or you wanted to just give an error warning and accept the data. So that defines basically next. So if I do, let me do this thing, grep. We know the grep, right? We discussed already grep. So I'm going with the grep. What is the grep I'm going to do? Grep validation, failed validation. I'll keep this one. Valid. Wherever this is there, it is going to give the like lines. These are the two times it is validation is failed. If I'm doing some more inserts, every insert will fail. So how many validation failed errors I should get now? 3 records I inserted. Every record it is validating, but it is writing the warning in the log 5 times. See, it's like that. So there is no meaning in the validation if you do this generally. You're just recording the event and accepting the data does not make sense. Data is growing. You're not controlling the data growth and unnecessary data. So, but anyway, you should know it, the purpose. The purpose must be clear. What is a validation warning means? Let's write a note here. Okay. If you understand this, I don't need to even explain the slides also, as simple as this. Warning. Validation. Let's give validation. Validation action. Warning. Validation action warning is going to accept all documents whether they are following the validation or not, but it writes the event to Mongo error log to record the event that validation failed. That is what it does. You need to know it. Is it clear? Yes or no? Say something.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for the response, guys. So now working with the validation actions. So changing, this is a changing validation action. from error to 1. Again, I'll keep it the one more step here. I will change it to error again. Changing the validation from warning to error. You just make it error. If you know this, you can become a slowly developer also if you are interested down the line. Developer has a more value than the DBA in the Mongo profile especially. More packages as well. It's up to you anyway, but it's simple to do development. If you follow things, it's up to you. Further, you wanted to grow your career on this one. DB dot, anyway, I don't want to do that. Where is this? See now error. Now it does the validation. It fail if it is not following both. Why? Because we are asked to do so. So now it will fail as long as you don't do the what I would say on. If I'm just giving the number, it won't accept anymore. You just need the codes to do it to accept the data. So we are back again to the all the modification, all the what I will say validation and warning, validation level and validation action. That is what it's talking about. See, with the moderate level updates to the existing document that do not fulfill the validation criteria, do not check for validity. We have talked about. If we wanted to switch it off, we have seen the switch off of the action and accept or reject invalid documents. The validation action at the end of it, which does the accept or reject. Accept means warning, reject means error. The validation action option determines how MongoDB handles the document that violate the validation rule. By default, validation action is error. MongoDB rejects, sorry, something I typed it wrong. Rejects any insertion or update that violate the validation criteria. When validation action is won, MongoDB logs any violations but allows the insertion, logs any violation in error log. Let's Mongo error log, but allows the insertion updates to proceed further. This is we have seen already. And if you wanted to change the validation action to one, that also I kept every syntax here. Okay, validation action, validation level, both we have seen that, right? This will come out of it. Data modeling concept. Data in MongoDB has a flexible schema unlike SQL databases where you must determine and declare the table schema before inserting the data in. See, unlike means SQL, you have to define the schema and insert it, right? MongoDB collection do not enforce the document structure. By default, they don't enforce. You load the data whatever the format, it will pick up. But MongoDB collection do not enforce the document structure. This flexibility facilitates the mapping of documents to entity or an object. See, by allowing you to enter any data is also a bad thing sometimes. Why? Because it's just taking all the crap data and it is becoming, like a vast, the data becoming uncontrollable, unmanageable, where you don't want. You want it to just definitely validate and pick up the data. That's where the schema design will come into picture. If you know all of this, you're done with the schema design. As simple as it is. Only those are available. Each document can have different keys and types. In practice, however, the documents in a collection share a similar structure. Generally, we try to one application will push the data, one type of data generally. If they're changing the extra fields, maybe extra fields will add up, but mostly the similar structure, every collection will have it. The key challenge in data modeling is balancing needs of the application, the performance characteristics of the database engine, and the data retrieval patterns. So how much data you're reading it and how much data you want to deal with, you wanted to control, their data model will come into picture. When designing the data models, always consider the application usage of the data, queries, updates, and processing of the data, as well as the inherent structure of the data itself. I mean, see, validation, you apply it, you don't apply it, it's a business case. It's not purely all the cases will follow the validation. It is a business case. You wanted to reduce the data, incoming data, and you wanted to get accurate data, what you wanted to load into the system, just apply the validation. And RDBMS to see, RDBMS will follow this kind of all relations with you go with one table, and one table will have the relation with other table with the foreign key, and if you update here, it will update there, and if you are trying to delete, it won't let. As long as you delete this, it won't delete. So there is a relation here. In Mongo, there is no relation at all. Everything goes into single. See, title MongoDB, name. This is the author of the something who has written this, and this is another author. And model, relational false. Also, see, you're keeping all of the content about one entity or one person or one business unit, whatever it is. You wanted to keep the information about one person in a single document. You don't divide it. You have to keep it in a single document itself. If you are adding the extra field, set it. We have seen how to set the new field in the existing collection. Keep adding the data to existing collection itself. You don't change the, you don't create multiple documents for a single person. One single person, one document. One document will give the entire information about the one person or entity, whatever it is. You don't divide the data. Keep it data. MongoDB follows the data locality. This is what we say. Data locality means if you have one person information, it should be there in a single document, as simple as it is. If you are keeping multiple documents, you cannot join it basically. There is no joining concept. Within a document, you can filter it. You can filter like we read the documents like we have embedded document. How do we read the embedded document? Parent field and the child field. We'll join it and read the equality. We read that already, right? That's what it will follow. Embedded documents we have seen already. So embedded documents will follow like this kind of structure. We have seen this, right? If I wanted to read this one, how would I read? db dot, if it is a table name called class, db dot class contact dot phone and this number. This will read the data. So inside the data. So parent field, child field, and equivalent value of that. That is the condition to find out the record. We have seen this. You guys remember? I picked up a big example. 8:33 already. Okay. This is all about for this. We are done with the schema design, guys. Schema is only all about this, what you wanted to design and how you validate that, what you wanted to keep the validation and how you are validating that validations. Like you wanted to keep it moderate or strict, a warning you wanted to give it, or you wanted to just error it out if it is not following the rule. If you know this, you know the schema design as simple as nothing else in the schema design. These are all you need to know in the schema design. I'm going to share this notepad. Just go through it. You're done with the validations. I mean schema design validations. But it is clear, right, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah,
So
Ravi.
this is all about the schema design. Schema design. Any questions from anyone?
So this is more of
Well,
like development side, right? Development side of the
exactly. It is purely development. But as a DBA, why we are learning this? We need to maintain the data. The problem is maintaining the data. If it is vast, we definitely face the issues. If the data is vast, the backup is, going to take long time, which is going to flood the resources. And if more data, more maintenance. As simple as it is. Maintenance, who is doing it? DBA is doing it. If DBA is giving the best standards, if people are not following, give the best standards, that also can control the data. That is expectation. See, you are the junior in the beginning, but down the line you are the senior. You will become the architect in the Mongo. When you become the architect, though you're DBA, you are expected to know all of this. Then only you'll become an architect. You know in and out of it, not just the DBA. That is expectation. That is why I'm showing all of this. Clear? Clear, right?
yeah. Yes.
Okay, guys. So any question before I stop the video? Fine. Okay.